he didn't have any issues with the fact that you were like sleeping with men for work, granted.
He kind of had issues at first, but like, I don't know, then it just like went away, I guess, and he just didn't care anymore. But
Question, did you meet him prior to starting work in the industry?
No. So I've been in
so
the
he knew
industry for
going
about
in.
4 years.
He knew going
Yeah.
in?
Yeah.
Okay. But then as the relationship developed, he started to have an issue with it.
Well, yeah, like as it developed in the beginning, he had an issue, and then it went away, and it was like fine, and then we broke up, basically.
Would there be like a waiting period? Like if you have a scene, or like would he want to wait to like smash?
No,
For like a week,
I mean,
or
we
like
never
a
like
fortnight?
talked about that at least.
Like, but would you give him like a heads up, like a?
I
Like,
mean, he knew.
hey,
I would be like,
buddy,
"Hey,
like,
I'm
I'm
going to
fucking
a
somebody
shoot
else
today."
What's
So
that?
I'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to a shoot today."
But what if it's like a shoot, but there's like no D? Like it's just
Did
like
you
a
guys
chick.
did you guys ever do the deed after you went to a shoot?
I mean, not that I can think of it. I didn't write it down. I don't know.
She was not keeping track. You know. Okay, all right.
I'm curious what he took issue with. Like, is it insecurity? Is it?
Oh, no.
And I'm wondering if you have dealt with a similar
I mean,
thing with.
you know, not every man definitely wants to see the person they love getting pounded on TV. Other people
Yeah.
don't care. I feel like that's something that if you are seeking, like if you are in the industry and you want to go and get into a relationship with a civilian, that is something that, you know, should be discussed and learn your boundaries for each
Right.
other. Like maybe it's no kissing, maybe it, don't call them this or that, whatever the boundary may be. It's up
Sure.
to the two people to respect each other's boundaries. And if it's something you can't do, then, you know, that obviously that relationship just isn't for you.
I just ask, I could be generalizing, and I don't know, Brian, if you come across this on the show often, but I don't know, I feel like a guy who is, I'm generalizing here again, but a guy who's like secure enough in himself and in you and your choices and your power and what you want to do, why would you have an issue with that on the guy's end? You know what I mean? Like, I love what you said about, you know, communicating, being transparent, and each other's boundaries. Who said what? What does that mean?
Wait, so you're saying if the guy is secure,
Yeah.
he won't have an issue with it?
Exactly. If it's made in the woman's choice and her power, and she's well knowing and full knowing, like, hey, this is what I do for a living, this is what I want to do, then like, it's like roll with or roll out. Like, they should respect
Well, so
that.
What does insecurity mean from your perspective?
Well, if a guy, well, you guys are saying if they're watching you, you know, get smashed, as you said, I assume that that would make them feel insecure, right? And
Or
Yeah,
maybe
but-
just
why does
uncomfortable
that have to make him
sometimes.
insecure?
because
Yeah.
why else? Well,
Couldn't
think
that
about
just
it.
be gross?
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily means they're insecure. It could make people uncomfortable, you know.
But
like
but
also
let's
in
get
the
to
industry.
I guess what I'm getting
If I
at, and you guys are guys, let's get to the root of why, though. That's what I'm saying.
But
Is
yeah, I
it stigmatized
guess.
because it's like, quote, gross? It's like,
Can I-
What do you mean? Hold
I
on.
can explain it
Remove
to
the
you.
air quotes on gross,
Yeah.
by the way. But go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, it's not a stigmatization.
Quite proven.
It's not a stigmatization. From your purview, you believe evolution is true.
Of course.
Yeah, so if you believe evolution is true, before we had DNA testing, how would you determine whether or not a child was yours from a male's perspective? How would you be able to determine that?
Hang on. I'm talking about in a controlled porn,
So hang on.
sex work
Hang
environment.
on. Don't
like these ladies
obfuscate.
are
Don't
talking
obfuscate.
about.
Let's stay. Hang on. Let's stick
I'm
with this.
not.
Let's stick with this because I'm trying to
Okay, let's
answer your
go.
question.
Let's go evolution.
Okay.
Let's go.
How would a man determine paternity before there was DNA testing? How could he do that? How could he determine that's my child?
Why are we talking about childbirth?
Answer the question.
I feel like we're getting persecuted. Before DNA testing?
Yeah. How do you think a man would be able to best determine whether a child was his or not?
Their partners, how the child
How many
looks.
Yeah.
People
So
they're
well,
sleeping
so if they were in a relationship where the woman was only sleeping with him, and that could be determined she was only sleeping with him, that would assure paternity, right?
Sure, but
Yeah.
if we're talking, okay, so if we're talking evolution, you know, knowing about evolution, that going way back, right, men biologically, even now to this day, why men are so visual, so physical, have that impulse to survive, spread their seed, basically bone everybody, right? Where
Okay.
women tend to be the nurturers, but wait, hang on a sec. women tend to be the nurturers, right? There's a different role that now we're trying to navigate that, like those Neanderthal tendencies in a
Yeah.
you know, modern world.
But I'm not sure
But by
that negates the point, though.
But by that logic, the women, it could go the other way, right?
No. So let us assume for a moment that you're correct, and that
Google it.
that every man on
I've
planet
studied
Earth wants
this.
to hump as many women as they possibly can. Let's just assume it for the sake of argument that
Yes.
they do. Okay. That still would have nothing to do with wanting the women that they're sleeping with to sleep with other men. And the reason for this is because of the assurance of paternity. Women can take the DNA from multiple men, but there's no assuredness that that then is going to be your child. That's the problem. And so the reason it's ingrained in men to find it revolting when their significant other is sleeping with another person besides them at any point, at least this is most men, is because that's ingrained in us because of that paternal
But you're
issue.
missing my point. You said it's revolting for men, right? It's a societal standard because of this. It's like
No.
when a woman sleeps around, she's
That's
a slut.
soci-
When a
that's
guy,
sociological.
Hang on a
I'm
second,
saying it's
please.
biological.
Wait, hang on. When a man sleeps around, he's a stud. So by that logic, you say repulse, revolt. It should be
Yeah,
the other way
because
around,
the-
right? Women are
no,
like
it
revolted
wouldn't
of
be the
men
other way
sleeping
around.
around. It's like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the other way around. You're talking about a
Right, you're proving my point.
No, I'm not. You're talking about
Okay.
a sociological versus a biological phenomenon. So the sociology,
but they
I'm
meet.
kind of trying to explain it to
Okay.
you. The sociology is meeting with the biology. True. But why? Well, it's meeting with the biology because men are revolted by promiscuous women. Women are not necessarily revolted by promiscuous men. That's
Right.
so.
It's
Hang on, hang on,
biology and culturally.
hang on,
We've been
hang on. Let me
indoctrinated with
finish. You can talk in
religion,
a
with-
second. I'm almost done.
Okay. Oh, thanks for
Okay.
your
So
permission.
after we get this foundational principle established that men are generally revolted by promiscuous women, but women are not generally revolted by promiscuous men biologically. Yes, the sociological phenomenons which spiral out of that, that's true, but it's the basis of it is the biological phenomenon.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing,
don't
sort
think
of,
we are.
not really.
Can I interject really quick?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this up earlier, but I'll say in the least detailed way, I used to be a sex worker. And I was a sex worker that involved sleeping with men. And Liza we were in a relationship for a period during that time.
Is it like, you talking about prostitution?
Not exactly, and I don't want to get into the details on here, but
Okay.
and I did do OnlyFans, so I can relate to some of these ladies. I wasn't on professional sets, but
Were you escorting?
in a way, I don't know if I want to say it on the radio right now, but my point is
Whatever
that
fan
moment,
donated $200. Seeing my girl getting pounded out by a bunch of dudes is a hard no for me, dog. Pause. Most dudes do not want to wife a girl who sleeps around even if it's for work purposes. Let Andrew cook.
right.
Go
And
ahead,
so
go ahead.
what I'm
Thank you,
talking
whatever
about now is, I think, a really unique perspective as a lesbian with a woman partner. And Liza can correct me if I'm wrong, but she loved me through the whole thing. She supported me, and there was an insecurity there because of the fact that Liza knows that we used to always joke about it the last 12 years. Like, she wins. Like, anyone I've ever dated, they always are insecure around her because they know, like, she's who I love, not them.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. I missed the bump up. To continue the thought, when you look back on a life of shattered relationships, it was your degenerate behavior that led to you being alone and the neighborhood cat lady.
But I,
So
fans of
grid
the
one,
cat lady.
grid one. Appreciate the TTS. Yeah, we actually didn't do. We're not doing 69 today. We have a lot to get through, so it's just tuning up. But grid one, really good to see you in the chat. Really quick, just before I have you continue. So Andrew's talking about paternity uncertainty, but given the nature of your relationship,
Right.
since you're both lesbians,
Right.
there's no scenario where she could doubt the
Exactly.
paternity if you two were to have. You'd have to adopt, or there would have
Yeah.
to be some sort of. You'd have to have a donor. So
Right.
it's not. You're welcome to chime in, but I don't think this is actually addressing
Yeah.
Andrew's argument.
I think it's
Can I say
addressing the
something?
insecurity portion, though. It's
Yeah.
just saying my partner
Okay.
didn't feel insecure
Yeah.
about me doing those things. In fact, she felt supported
Right.
because that
And
money
that's-
helped our dreams come
Wouldn't
true.
that be the
Right.
opposite?
Well, can I
of
just say one
insecurity?
thing? That's what, because when I was thinking, like, what would men potentially feel is lacking a security, and with that, honestly, we don't have that because there's no worry of a child. So we're just saying I see like how a man could feel that way, and that we didn't experience that. That wasn't something that was a point of contention in that specific experience.
Well,
for us.
let's back up a little bit. We're talking about insecurity versus security, because I hear
Right.
these terms thrown around a lot.
Right.
And
That's what I
think-
wanna get to the
I
root
think
of.
we perceive them very differently.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's harder or easier to gaslight somebody who's secure?
Harder.
Way harder, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Way harder.
Yeah, way harder.
So if you were to go to a man who is really secure and say, baby, I want to hump other men, would it be harder to convince him?
Probably.
Probably,
because
right?
he's
So
secure.
hang on. So it's
Yeah,
not that
of course.
he's insecure, it's that he's so secure
Right.
that your gaslighting won't work.
No, 100%.
Right? Isn't that what's really going on?
Yeah.
I have a situation.
Or is it, so what you're trying to say is the opposite. You're trying to say, he's so insecure that he won't accept this relationship standard. No, I say, and according to their logic, they would agree, he's so secure he won't accept your gaslighting.
And I
No,
also think
I'm hang on to
Yeah.
get really quickly.
Yeah, no
To
problem.
get back to what I was originally talking about with you guys is in trying to have their backs, right? And you're kind of proving my point. You have this like Madonna whore complex thing that sadly is like permeated through
I don't
society.
even know what that means. What
Well,
does
I'll
that mean?
explain it. That's okay. I'll explain it to you.
Okay.
But I feel like when men are so secure, now granted, porn, sex work, that is an extreme thing. I'm not saying everybody, oh, okay, be comfortable with that, go on your way, la-di-da. It's a personal thing. I'm saying if somebody knows you, knows your choices, respects you, respects your work, and they're secure enough to go, you know what? I know you shut that part off. We're transparent here. You know, we have these boundaries. I respect you. And, you know, nothing can get between us. Like, it's me and you, and this is your work, and that's separate. I think that's cool, and that's rare. And it's just what you guys are saying, sadly, I think just illustrates the boxes our society, whether it be culturally, biologically, whatever it is, has put us in now. That's all I was trying to say, if that makes sense to you guys.
I'm not sure how that negates what I said at all.
well,
Because you said a secure guy
Yeah.
is gaslit. I'm saying a
Yeah.
real secure guy who knows the situation they're getting into, knows what you guys have,
It's impossible
knows
for them to
nothing
know.
can you know, dismantle that.
How could they know?
Or get in between that. I think that's secure.
How could they know what
I think
they're
he
signing
knows
up for?
what you guys have. I'm not a sex worker. I'm not a
Yeah,
sex
how
worker.
could
I'm
how
just
could
saying.
you have the expectation that a civilian would know what they're signing up for?
well, and that's what I wanted to say is
They
that
may
you
not.
don't know it until you're in it,
Yeah.
and that's what I think you continue to have conversations. But what I was going to bring up was that you brought up that now we do have DNA testing and all of this stuff. So if you're thinking about humans still evolving right now, wouldn't that? I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. Wouldn't that take away that natural insecurity, or you don't think that? I'm just wondering. I don't have an opinion.
So
either
evolution is
way,
going to
but-
happen to an entire species gradually over millions
Right, but
of years.
do you think
Hang on,
that's
hang on.
happening now?
Over millions of years. How long do you think we've had paternity testing?
No, I don't know. Not very long.
Well, how
I
long
mean-
do you think not very long is?
I mean, probably
than
like
50
yeah.
years.
That's what I was gonna say, like 40 years or something.
You don't think 40 years is long enough to evolve, do you?
No, not necessarily, but
No.
then if you-
Hang on. At all.
at all. Then there's all. I don't want to get into that right now, but
I mean, if you're talking about social evolution,
Yeah.
that would not be biological evolution.
yeah.
Also,
So, but I
somebody
do
could
agree.
have been born before, not that this would change anything. Someone could have been before the invent of paternity
100%.
testing.
No,
So-
100%. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think it could happen in 40 years, but I'm just wondering if you think
Maybe
that
40
in the
million?
future, if this is all happening, if the way that we are in the society would affect how we will biologically interact.
So
with
it would be possible from the evolutionist purview
Yeah.
that in 4, 5, 6, 7 million years, we will be able to leave that behind us,
Yeah.
yes. But
do you think
I don't
we
think,
should be
considering
working
that all
now
of recorded human
our
history is about 12,000 years old, recorded human
Yeah, for
history,
sure.
12,000 years old, I don't think that it's going to take a long time to leave that
But I guess I
behind.
want to follow that up by asking if you think it's headed that way, should we be acting towards that evolution anyway? Like, should we change how we interact with each other?
I'm not sure that it's heading that way. I'm just telling you that theoretically,
Yeah.
if you're
No, it's
asking,
all
is it
theoretical.
possible?
Yeah.
Then the answer is yes, it's possible. In millions of years, you could leave that
But,
behind
yeah.
from that purview. That doesn't mean we're evolving towards that.
Yeah.
In fact,
But
it
if you-
seems like we're evolving away from it, and here's why: because of reproductive dead ends. So right now, the birth rates in the West, the entire world are collapsing.
Yeah.
Free fall rates. Everything is below replacement all over the entirety of the West. The reason for this is because women are having children later in life. They start about 30. The average age
Yeah,
for
that's
marriage,
what's gonna
30,
happen to me.
31.
Yeah.
And so you're unfortunately, the fertility goes way down.
100%.
Way down. So a lot of women are going to end up being reproductive dead ends. If that's the case, then probably monogamy is going to make a swing back in a
Yeah.
big way. So no, I don't think we would be evolving away from it anytime soon.
Yeah.
And we have those preferences there, the biological preferences anyway, of
Right.
men find it revolting to share their women.
For sure.
So with that being said, just out of curiosity, you're straight and date women. Are you dating right now,
No,
Andrew?
I'm married.
He's married.
Oh, you're married. Okay. So just sheer curiosity. When you see your wife or whoever you dated before your wife, whatever it was, like flirting with another man or whatever, does that make you feel a type of way? Does that make you feel jealous? You're shaking your head.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to see what you
Yeah,
think.
well, see, because I'm so secure in what my expectations are, right, I would feel completely disrespected by that. And I
Oh,
would
that's
feel secure
interesting.
enough to say something like, what the fuck are you doing? That's how that would go.
Interesting. I mean, I get that's your vantage point.
Actually,
and
I
how you
think
feel.
that the purview of the most secure man is a man who will tell a woman that they won't accept their bad behavior, whatever that may
So
be.
why is flirting bad behavior? I'm just debating you from my point of
Sure.
view, right? So I have the best guy, I've like dream relationship,
Because
right? And hang on
yeah.
a sec.
Well, I was trying to answer your question.
So
but go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying.
No, I'm just getting to the root. When you say bad behavior is flirting, it's like, why is that bad behavior?
Well,
like to
that's
me,
what I was trying to answer.
Okay,
It's because of respect.
but okay, so I just am going to disagree,
It's
and that's
per
okay. We
person,
can have
what you
healthy.
feel,
Exactly,
you know
we
what I
can
mean?
have a healthy
Okay,
disagreement.
well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Okay. Let us assume any random man, it's a random guy,
Sure.
random, that we were to teleport you into a relationship with him tomorrow. Just some random
Okay.
man in the United States, okay? You don't know anything about him. Would you say that if we teleported you directly into a marriage with him and you began to flirt with other guys in front of him, that he would appreciate that or not appreciate that?
So that's just a random, obscure example of like taking an alien from Mars and marrying them.
Yeah, it's a
but
hypothetical designed to test your logic. So answer the question, please.
Why are you so combative today?
That wasn't
I
very
don't know you. I
combative.
just met you, but my oh my.
Because
My point is,
I'll explain. People
Okay.
people often obfuscate away from points when they're asked to test their logic.
Can you
the
just
way
explain what obfuscate means?
yeah, it just
It
means
means
they
get away
yeah
from
they try to get away from it.
So here's my
So
thing.
do you think that they would be more or less likely to be
It
upset?
depends on the person. This
Yeah,
is
I
what
know
I'm
it's a
saying.
random person.
Your view of what's disrespectful and all this is completely contrarian to what I think, right? So
Agreed.
when me personally, I don't know about you ladies, that possessive, and listen, I too have had my own journey with this. I'm not gonna lie. I used to be
You've
super.
had a journey?
I've had a journey.
Are you
I'm
on-
the journey,
are you
right?
on
and
your
you're
journey?
on my journey right now. Lucky you.
Did I meet you on your journey?
I don't know. We'll
Or are
find
you on
out.
the path of your journey and you met me?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, go
Of
ahead.
possessiveness and jealousy, right? So I'm just saying, for me now, it is the sexiest thing when a guy is not possessive jealous. When he's like, go ahead, guys, eat your heart out. Yeah, flirt. Yeah, whatever. Because at the end of the day, she's my girl.
Wait,
and that's
what
hang
about-
on,
No,
and that's her in her power. Like, that's just me. You guys don't have to agree. And I've seen it time and time again. It's like, life is too short. Like, just be
I
in,
am-
each, be
I'm
in
actually-
your individual
I'm happy to
respective
engage with
powers.
this. Happy to
Like,
engage with
be in
this.
your power and to box your significant other and be like, oh, you can't do that. You can't.
Wait, hold on.
Why wouldn't it?
Hold
To
on.
me, it's hot when girls are like, oh, your man is hot. Does some of that like possessiveness come up? Yes, but it's hot. It's like, yeah, be in your power, baby. At the end of the day, it's me
would
and
it
you.
be hot? So you said possessiveness,
Yes.
that's bad. Trying to kind of control you, that's bad.
That's right.
So if you're in a monogamous relationship and you were inclined to open up the relationship and then go have sex with another man, would that be possessive or controlling for your man to insist that you did not do that?
It would have to be a mutual decision. It would have to, and I think the transparency is what's really cool.
Yeah, but would
said-
it be insecure of him to not want that?
No.
No.
It depends on the person. It totally depends on I could understand why, and we're not there, but I could understand why a guy would be like, or a woman would be like, I'm not down with that. I don't feel comfortable
So then,
with
so
that.
then let's back way up so I can engage exactly with what you're saying. Back to this alien transportation hypothetical.
Yes.
If you were
Elon
teleported
Musk.
directly into a marriage with some random guy, I know it depends on the individual. Totally agree. Do you think
Yes.
do you think that random guy would be more likely to get jealous by you flirting, or less likely?
My friend.
If it was just a
Again,
random
it
sample.
depends on the guy.
I know it depends on the guy.
So how can you have me
Because
answer
so
that?
here I can
I think the
explain.
human thing
I can
is
explain
someone
exactly how
more
you can answer
insecure,
it.
and that
Somebody
the conversation is you either are or you're not, but it's
So let's say
more than
let's say
that.
this: if 70% of the men in the United States, okay, 70% of the men in the United States would get jealous by their woman flirting with somebody else, then if I ask you this question, if you were randomly teleported into a marriage with a random guy, then your chances are still going to be high. Hang on, if it's 70% of being teleported into a marriage with a guy who would be jealous, right? So you can't answer the question.
I think it is
I'm
a
reading
yes
this comment.
because of just if we know the way men think, or we like to think we know, we never will truly know. But then if that's what they're expressing, I do believe that. But I think it goes to the point that you were saying is that if you say to your wife, this makes me feel disrespected, she shouldn't do it.
Yeah, of course.
And vice versa. I think that I wouldn't be with Delaney if she wasn't pushing me to be a better person and calling me out of my shit. And if you're not willing to take inventory and look at where you're wrong or illogical or too emotional, then we can't have these conversations because we're not willing to even step out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I agree with you that it is a personal thing.
It's a
And maybe
personal
I can
thing,
look at
and,
it
like,
at a different angle. Is it empowerment, like you said? It's empowering for you to be able to flirt, right? With
Sure.
other people. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it
That's
also
empowered
is it
when we're
also
hot and
empowering for you to tell a man not to flirt if it makes you uncomfortable?
yeah.
They're both empowered.
Hang on,
Again,
hang on, let
it's
her
apples
answer.
and oranges
Answer-
because
just- you're not answering
I'm
the
not
question.
empowered by that. It's
Okay.
it's total apples.
So it's not empowering?
Because when you get to the root of it, right? You said her flirting, whatever, it's disrespectful. What is that shaking underneath? Really, if you get to the root of it, why do I feel a type of way? It's insecurity. It's they might like this person more than
I
they
think
like
it's
me.
insecurity.
Oh, they might leave me.
No,
for,
I think it's
for
insecurity
them.
the
That's
opposite
what
way.
It is. It's
If you're
like,
with a secure person, a
come
secure
on.
person has boundaries. If a secure person has
Right.
boundaries, then actually by allowing you to do that, they're showing they're an insecure person.
You're insecure putting your significant other in a box.
No,
Period.
you're
Let them
insecure
be a fully
demanding. You're
embodied
insecure
human.
demanding that they go outside of their preferences.
I think it's
That's
about
insecurity.
consent.
Then find
At the end of
someone
the
who
day.
has your preferences.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
box
about-
them in.
Right.
That's
Well,
my
if you're going to
point.
find somebody who has your preferences, that goes all the way back to the conversation of, do you think you'd find somebody who's more likely to have your preferences or not? And you still refuse to answer that question.
It's less.
So my
Less.
boyfriend's pretty secure, right?
Yeah.
And there was a point where we didn't know what we were like in relationship wise, like definition, because we started off as friends and then we were fuck buddies and then we just ended up living together. It's a whole convoluted thing. But there was a point where I was flirting with some guy because I was like, I don't know if I like anyone else. And he's like, well, don't come crying to me if you find out that his dick's not as good as mine. And he just walked away. And it scared me so much that he was probably right that I stopped talking to the person. It was really attractive that
You guys can't
he
convince
actually
me it's not all
didn't.
insecurity.
No, he's very secure.
Go ahead.
He's very secure.
I don't know. You
Go
sound
ahead,
like
go
you're
ahead.
insecure.
So
honestly.
personally, I wouldn't even approach the idea of entering a relationship if someone's views on relationships differed from mine. So I feel like that's a first base conversation just to casually talk about, to gauge each other's preferences, boundaries, all of it, to not waste each other's time. But also, I feel like me personally, if I was in a relationship, all that matters to me is honesty and communication. So I don't see myself being in a monogamous type of relationship. That's just not something I want. It makes work difficult. It's not more so for work reasons, but just me. And I feel like that is something that's discussed in its boundaries, and obviously a relationship like that.
Well, and what you're
wouldn't work
saying, what you're saying is rational, is reasonable, but you would have to concede too that you could enter into a relationship with a person, and they could have the pre-agreement, and then after they're like, wait a second, this actually feels different, or I can't handle it, or this type of thing. You couldn't really get mad at them for that,
No,
right?
and that's always like, if they feel that way, then obviously this is not something that would
Yeah.
work. So we would just
The reason I
part
asked that
ways.
is because, by her definition, how she just gave what she thinks security and insecurity is, she would think that that was being insecure. Yeah. Is that security or insecurity that he's in the
I
relationship?
feel like somebody, what you're saying, matching your.
No. She gets with somebody who does match it,
Okay.
but then after 6 months, he goes, look, this feels way different than I thought it
That's
would.
fine.
Right?
Of
Is he
course.
being insecure?
No, it's about
necessarily,
He's being
no.
secure.
Well, hang
no.
on. Let her answer.
No, not necessarily.
What does that mean? Not necessarily.
Well, it depends on the situation.
Well, I just gave you the situation. That's the
I think it's a
situation.
With her
consent
consent.
thing
It's a
more than
consent thing.
anything.
If-
That's
you can
exactly-
change your
yeah.
consent at any time.
If he's like,
yeah.
look, it's too much, which I'm sure you've dealt with, then it's too much, and
Now-
okay.
now, is
I'm
that-
not like you're a little baby bitch.
No,
I'm
I
just
get
saying.
it. But is that man being secure
Yeah.
by
Yes.
staying true to these values and saying, listen, this feels way different than I thought it would. I don't like it.
Again, Andrew, I think it's at the root of why they don't like it.
That's why
Is
I'm
it
getting
an
at the
so
root.
that's and it could be a little
So
bit.
it is
could be-
insecurity.
It could be a little bit of both. It could be
feel
I'm
like-
secure in
See,
how
but
I
this
feel,
is-
and
this
it could be
is-
insecure in like
When you keep
all
saying,
the
let's get to the
reasons I
root,
listed.
that's where we're at. I'm getting right at this root.
And if you
do think that that is insecurity ultimately.
I
Because,
just said it's a mix of the two.
yeah, what does that mean though?
I
So
just
then it
said
is then.
I just said
So
like-
if it's a mix, then it is.
Boundaries
Amnesia
and
show.
insecurity are almost like
So if I took-
interchangeable words in that scenario.
Yeah, so if I took silver and I took gold and I melted them together, there would still be silver, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So if there's insecurity plus blank, there's still insecurity. So you saying it's a mix of insecurity plus something else means you still think it's insecure.
Right.
Yeah, so
I said
so
that. I
then
said
it,
it's a
you
mix.
think it's insecure for a man to halfway,
No, I said
in 6
if
months into a
he-
relationship, not want to date a porn
Yeah,
star.
no. I said getting to the root of it. If one of the reasons he's like, this is too much, it's overwhelming. I said if one of the reasons deep down, he may not even, this person, alien, may not even admit it to themselves. It could be partially an insecurity. It could be upbringing. It could be a number of things. But you
But in
and
this
your
scenario,
Mr. Alien
Yeah,
Man
yeah,
from
so-
Elon Musk's space,
so in-
I don't even know.
So in
Like,
this scenario, though, he just says, "Listen, it feels different than how I thought it would feel."
sure. Okay.
Is that him being secure or insecure?
secure.
secure, and then
Secure.
I think that when
Why
you're
he's walking away.
as
But
women,
you don't
we can
think so
show
still,
our
right?
security by if someone says that they don't want that, then you're so secure in yourself that it's okay and you can let them go. To
feel
me,
like-
that's my
yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think.
If you can set a boundary, that means you're secure in yourself. But
Agreed.
the thing is, you guys are just talking about you have two different boundaries. Your future male partner has completely different boundaries than Andrew's boundaries. But him setting a boundary with his wife and you setting a boundary with your
Yeah, I
future
don't- I
partner.
Don't read the chat.
I'm not sure.
Even
I'm
if they're
not sure
totally
that that's
different
what
boundaries.
I'm not sure that that's what we're disputing. I agree that I have.
Grid One Motorsports donated
Yo, thank you, Grid One.
$200.
Appreciate it, man. Good to see you.
So much delusion in one panel. Smells like a lot of evil feminism ruining women and queer relationships. Q for the panel. Are you feminist or do you embrace the patriarchy?
He's a brave and a decent man. He's a pioneer.
Yeah, thank you, Grid One.
God.
So let's actually do Grid One's
I love that
question.
it's either or.
We can come back to this a bit. We still need to get everybody's relationship
Yes.
status. So
Yes.
just going around the table, are you a feminist? Yes or no?
I feel like there's parts of feminism I agree with, and there's other parts like I don't feel like with preferences in relationships, right? I don't think every woman wants to be the trad wife homemaker. Some women like being independent, and that's okay.
So just real quick, and we'll get back to this. But we just want to get the quick answer for the panel. Feminists?
Yes.
I was gonna. It's the same vibe. I don't necessarily think I'm not.
Just one thing.
I'll say no.
Just one
then.
thing, guys. So
Okay.
when we're going around the table, don't be like, I agree. Even if you
Gotcha.
agree, just
Gotcha.
state your actual state your actual position.
Okay, and then I mean, same vibe. I mean, I just agree with parts of it and not the whole thing. I guess I can't say I am then if I disagree with some things.
So kinda.
Okay.
Kinda.
I am a feminist, yes.
Okay.
Yes, but not in the woke way.
Okay.
I'm also feminist, mostly.
All right.
Repeal the 19th.
Okay. All right. The views expressed by the panelists do not necessarily reflect.
Are you guys?
The
Brian and
views.
Andrew?
I'm not a feminist. No.
Okay. Are you?
I'm a misandrist.
Oh, Andrew, stop.
Okay.
He's not a feminist. He's not a feminist. Oh wait, misandrist. That would make you a
Man hater.
man hater. Okay, all right.
I'm a misandrist.
He's a
Right.
misandrist. Okay.
I feel like you could have.
Now, you really quick, just going back to your answer, you were saying how, well, but you don't believe in the trad wife thing. Wouldn't that precisely be a feminist? Or do you think feminists are in favor of trad
No,
wives?
that's why. No, feminists are in favor of female power. But
Okay.
I lean somewhere in the middle. I am a happy medium between I love being a homemaker for my home, but I also like being an independent woman who's in control of myself and my career and everything.
Real quick.
Yes.
Just one more question to kind of flesh this idea out better. When we say feminism, what do you think that means in like a really short, concise answer? I know that that's difficult to do, right? But just so we have a general idea of what that means.
Pushing for female equality in work, home, all aspects of life, reproductive rights.
What
just-
rights do we not have?
Hang on. Let him answer.
She's like, oh my God. Yeah.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
And then over here.
I think it is more about equality. I think to me it's more of how we live and treat each other than wanting women to be on top necessarily. I truly believe that, I know I'm not supposed to talk about racism, but I think they are intertwined, and
Okay.
I think you can't have one without
So like egalitarianism?
Yeah,
Okay.
essentially.
Like what I think feminism is.
Yeah, well, just what it means to you.
I mean, I guess, yeah, like equal rights. Or, I mean, I'm not sure. But I feel like what you just said, you said like treating everyone with like the same respect kind of vibe. Like that just seems like being like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the word. Just like, that's like equality for everyone, you know? So I can't, like, if that's it, then I don't know if that's really feminism in my mind.
But I do have to say,
So what is it to you?
I don't know. That's kind of what I wanted to ask you guys, like with that question,
don't know
like
what
what you
feminism
guys would describe it as,
yeah,
like
that's
in
fair.
that either or sense, I guess.
I would describe feminism as just supporting women to being their fullest potential of what they want to be. So if you want to be a trad wife, I support you 100% as a feminist in being a trad wife. If you don't want to be one, I also support you 100%.
Egalitarianism between men
I've
and
had
women.
wildly different things back and forth, and I'm glad I've experienced them all, and I don't think I'm less or more of a woman compared to other women because of my life experience. So, but obviously feeds into equality, because if we're supporting women being their highest, best self, then there are certain parts of society that are not equal, so it makes it a little harder for us to get there.
Okay.